Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kastuba. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from the beautiful Govardhan Eco Village in sunny Maharashtra. This is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host Raghunath and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center, New York, Kastuba Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. It is Friday. It is Wednesday.
Not close.
We're
Only 2 days off.
Yeah, and we don't know where we are, what's going on. But it's a day, and we're here together with a little live crew. All the students are showing up today. They're on the bus right now, matter of fact, heading here. And things are starting to get pumping here at the Govardhan Eco Village. There's Radhika Das has a beautiful group here from England and Germany. And our friends Jagiri Hari and Veerbhadra and their families are here.
Yeah.
And Radha Swami is here,
Mm-hmm.
floating around, hovering around like a hovercraft, spiritual hovercraft. How are you doing?
It's great.
I really needed it too. I got a massage from that guy, Rahunath. Man, the guy took me to another dimension. It was quite wonderful. Then he put me in one of those steam boxes where your head sticking out. It's like from the 1920s. I steamed for a while. I felt great. And then what did we do? Then me and Mara took a Hindi lesson.
Oh.
We went for a long walk this morning. Had a great day. Had a great day. Metikum.
Namaskar.
How are you? What have you been doing?
I've just a few meetings.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Doing some harmonium practicing?
Not yet.
I hear you.
I'm
right below you. I hear
I
you.
got started.
Came in my room today. He's like, you got an extra harmonium? I was like, not really. He goes, how about this one? Oh, that's not an extra one. How many do you have?
That's not what happened at all.
I wish I had a tape recording of that. He shook me down for a harmonium.
Did we just lose power? We're still okay, huh?
We
lost
the
juice.
internet.
But yeah, we're good.
Okay, that's good.
Okay. Let's
So
get
anyway,
into
we're
this, right?
diving into Bhagavatam today. Miss Mara G, you good? Mara's back in the sun. She's becoming Malibu Mara once again, very quick.
We have Bhakti Recovery Group meetings at 1 and 9:30 Eastern time today. Josh Kane is back this week with his Cult of Kane Asana class for our Patreon members, and Sunday is Anu's Postural Yoga class.
Okay.
Let's do it. All right.
We have to end the show.
We're
Oh.
gonna have to end the show on time because we got to greet the guests. Okay, great. Okay, so we have a nugget.
Yeah. Who's it from?
Glasses on here. This nugget is from Thomas Merton, Christian mystic,
Trappist monk.
Trappist. Does that mean they trapped animals?
I doubt it.
What do they trap?
I have no idea what it means.
Trappist monk. Look that
Mara?
up, Mara. Trappist monk.
What does he say?
Catching beavers or something? What's going on? Those monks are doing Trappist. Maybe it was on a trapeze.
Possible.
It's quite athletic monk.
Relating to or denoting a branch of the Cistercian order of monks founded in 1664 and noted for an austere rule that includes remaining silent for much of the time.
Really?
What's got to do with traps?
Nothing to do with trap.
Yes, there you go. They shut the
Mara,
trap.
as they shut their trap. That was a good one, Mara. Oh, Mara, sometimes you get me going. Okay. So this is a quote from Thomas Merton. Instead of loving what you think is peace, love other men and love God above all. And instead of hating the people you think are warmongers, hate the appetites and the disorder in your own soul, which are the causes of war. If you love peace, then hate injustice, hate tyranny, hate greed, but hate these things in yourself, not in another.
Yeah.
Easy to hate the things in you.
Thank you.
No, I mean in someone else. It's easy to hate the things in someone else because it creates a smoke screen so I don't have to identify with any of my shortcomings. Makes me seem like, well, I got my stuff together. I would never do that. Would you? Would you? This is one of these things where it's the microscopes now placed on me at all times.
I remember one of our first episodes, I think, was entitled, I think you said it, that yoga is turning the microscope on oneself.
It really is. And how we interact with the world and how we changes the world. It's a lot of self-reflection. And yeah, it's so little externals and so much internal stuff.
I found it interesting how he said, instead of loving what you think is peace. And I'm going to read you something because this is part of a longer, he wrote is it a book?
You've been dabbling into Merton?
A little bit. I'll read you the few paragraphs that came before this.
Okay.
But what he does is something that I've seen in my own life due to like having the good fortune of having the association of some people that are like very deeply spiritual and very sincere. But I think when we hear about something like peace, and this is what he's going to show, we think we know what peace means and what it looks like, but we only approach it on a very superficial level, one that doesn't challenge ourselves very deeply. So like a person that's deeply spiritual, really it's just a question of challenging oneself on deeper and deeper and deeper levels. And most of us are hesitant to do that. But sometimes like I've seen people speak about like creating harmony or being tolerant. And I've seen certain people do that on levels where most people would have rationalized the need for it away. Like I've taken this far enough, but you actually never get to any kind of real life-changing or society-changing levels of depth if you rationalize it away before you go very deep into it. So this is what Thomas Merton wrote, and I found it very interesting. He said, if men really wanted peace, if they really wanted, we all say we want it. Do we really want it?
Sure.
If men really wanted peace, they would sincerely ask God for it, and he would give it to them. But why should he give the world a peace which it does not really desire? The peace the world pretends to desire is really not peace at all. Okay, what does he mean? He says, to some men, peace merely means the liberty to exploit other people without fear of retaliation or indifference. Right?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, if things are just like this, then we're going to have peace,
Then I can
right?
do whatever I want.
Yeah. To others, peace means the freedom to rob brothers without interruption. To still others, it means the leisure to devour the goods of the earth without being compelled to interrupt their pleasures, to feed those whom their greed is starving. Right? In other words, if we want peace, we have to take it down to that, take it deeper, really look at my own life, right? He goes on, and then he says, and to practically everybody, peace simply means the absence of any physical violence that might cast a shadow over lives devoted to the satisfaction of their animal appetites for comfort and pleasure. He says, many men like these have asked God for what they thought was peace and wondered why their prayer was not answered. They could not understand that it actually was answered. God left them with what they desired, for their idea of peace was only another form of war. The Cold War is simply the normal consequence of our corruption of peace, based on a policy of every man for himself in ethics, economics, and political life.
Wow.
It is absurd to hope for a solid peace based on fictions and illusions. And then the quote that we read today. So instead of loving what you think is peace, love other men and love God above all. And instead of hating the people you think are warmongers, if we heard that in the beginning, we'd think, I'm not a warmonger. But after reading that, we might be like, maybe I am a warmonger. And so he says, and instead of hating the people you think are warmongers, hate the appetites and the disorder in your own soul, which are the causes of war. If you love peace, then hate injustice, hate tyranny, hate greed, but hate these things in yourself, not in another.
Makes sense. When I have a strong appetite for whatever, there can't be peace, because if you got it, I want it.
Yeah,
It means I'm going after everybody with my appetite.
it's going to create a tension.
The only
on
way is
level
to get
of
rid of you is to control your desires.
Yeah,
We used to be, fond of this band that had the song, "Give me peace and anarchy." It's like peace and anarchy. You want peace and anarchy? Come on. You got those two. How are those two things going to be married? It's like the opposite.
Yeah.
What are your
Anyway,
realizations.
well, again, I've seen certain people. I'll tell you something. I just met with Vera Budger today, and in some ways, like I think one way I relate to what we just read to things I've seen in my own life was, I know for years Radha Swami was at the Bhakti Center. He's a leader that he tries to inspire people to kind of come to their own higher nature.
Mm.
He doesn't get in and change everything and order people what to do so much. He keeps trying to point the way
Right.
to people adopting the higher, and everybody thinks, yeah, that's me. That's who I am. That's how I live, but it reminds me of this. Oh, is it really? And you have to go deeper. And so always he said there that for the place to be really successful and really change people's lives, he says, how well you lead kirtan, how expert your class is, or whatever. He said, more important than that has to do with the mood that's created amongst the people that are here. That if they feel like this is an atmosphere where people really love and respect one another, trust one another, that it's like a real family. He said that more than anything will touch people and move people. And for years we were kind of like, yeah, of course, that's what we do here, right? That's what we're trying to do. But like I saw Veer, he kind of took it to another level where he just really nonstop came from that platform, and it really did have a dynamic effect on the place. And in the life of Radha Swami himself, I've seen him do that, where where people talk about tolerance, I've seen him tolerate things that most people would never tolerate. I've seen him tolerate behavior and inimical behavior focused at him, where everybody's like, well, come on, this is enough. And he's not only will he tolerate it, he will not say a word critical of the person that it's coming from. And if someone comes forward with a critical analysis, he'll interpret it another
Why do you
way.
get it like that? Is it, you think it's coming from another it seems like when you read Journey Home, it seems like he almost had it the first time he went to India. It had all
He
this
definitely
stuff.
had something special.
He had
yeah.
something special coming into the game,
Yeah. Well, it's interesting you say that, because when I was thinking about this,
because I want it. I want it and I don't
want
have it. And how do I get it? Do I just keep reading these books and trying to apply it and trial and error and fail and win a little? And
I was thinking when I was reading that some people are going to say, okay, so you're not going to do anything about the war that's happening in the world. Everybody should just go and do their navel gazing and not worry about what's happening in life. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought, until we actually change, we just the exploitation is shifting borders. It's just like kind of a war that never ends. And occasionally people come along in history that actually do move people, that actually kind of do push society, broader society in a certain direction. And there are people that do demonstrate very unique qualities, saintly qualities of tolerance, qualities of forgiveness, qualities of selflessness. And I do think that those are things, that's something that's likely cultivated over the course of several lifetimes. So you hear something like this and you say, this is, like you're saying, this is what I want. And maybe if I think like this and try to act on it deeply in this life, I don't have a deep effect on the world, but maybe I do in my next life, like maybe I come out the next life and I'm on a whole nother level, and I'm given the circumstances and the opportunities and the platforms to demonstrate what can actually really help people, that could really change broader circumstances. Yeah. And Thomas Merton, I mean, he's deep. He's thinking about these things. Yeah. He's recognizing these things. He's watching, current events play out, lining it up against, history, and understanding that the spiritual teachings that, applying the spiritual teachings that he's contemplating every day and seeing how it plays out. And I think he's coming up with the same idea that all deep spiritualists come to. Nice. And then we see someone like Citraketu that we're reading about now, right? It's just like he gets such a heavy, hostile kind of curse thrown his way.
Well,
And-
first
and
he
he's-
he had some desires. Then he got those desires fulfilled, and then
Got to take him torn away from him.
torn away from him to get some realization.
Yeah.
Because he's wise and he applied knowledge. Then he goes through the proper grieving processes,
Yeah.
and then he starts to come to acceptance, and then
Wisdom comes to platform of wisdom
Yeah.
where,
then he gets a curse, and he's good with it.
All right.
It was nice. I had a nice talk with Tara last night.
Tara's great.
Tara's great here. He does all our retreats and handles everything. But I've known Tara since I've known you, and so it's nice to watch us grow through the different seasons of life. And now we're old men. You know what I mean? You have no kids, but if you had kids, they'd be old. Tara's got a 15-year-old, and I got an 18-year-old, and it's just like someone like we've been through the life now. Our hairs are gray, a little out of shape. You're not. You're pretty good. You're the same. You haven't really changed much, just tuba. But it's sort of like the realizations that come with those different seasons of life, and you start to see and the reaching out and trying to hold on to that eternal message through it all. This whole process forces you to see life as an eternal thing.
Mhm.
That we are not Tara Kostuba and Raghunath of what we were in our 20s or in our 30s or in our 40s or anything. We're just like an eternal being, and the waves of the body are just shifting around, and we're going on, and we hold on, and we try to give some love, and try to do some service when we make some mistakes, and we move ahead, but trying to hold on to that truth. And you see that we're not possessors of anything in this world, and you just get profound realization just watching here Tara just. He wasn't lecturing me, but it was almost like getting a lecture, and I was learning from his realizations.
I think when we first started doing nuggets, we went to the Panchatantra a little bit. Remember that?
The Panchatantra, yeah.
And these old, like the Aesop's fables were based on the Panchatantra, these ancient Indian stories with morals.
Yeah.
And I remember there, although you hear it in other places across like Indian sacred text, but I think there it's like, what is the greatest gift? And it's knowledge. And then it gives all the different reasons why knowledge is the best gift. Like you can't lose it and you can't steal it, all these different things. Right. But it really is. And in one sense, knowledge can be given, and then ultimately wisdom has to be cultivated by the individual, right? Like you can't give someone wisdom, you can give someone knowledge. And then they have to take that knowledge and go through life, and generally through suffering in life, and apply it, reflect on it. And then as they age, that wisdom hopefully kind of manifests. And all of we're seeing here, like we were just reading yesterday that Citraketu was like, Shiva is talking about Citraketu and saying that most people, they're doing this thing where they're differentiating between good and bad, or happiness and distress in this world. And that a wise person just sees all of this good and bad and all this happiness and distress is just kind of all bad in one
Right.
sense, right? It's kind of, again, it's like being in the prison, whether it's a happy day in the prison or a sad day in the prison.
We're still in the prison.
You're not free. Yeah, you're in
Sure.
the prison, and there's a spiritual freedom that is the true happiness.
And that's why this idea of, that Prabhupada's got this book, Krishna Consciousness, the topmost yoga system. I remember seeing that book when I was young. I was like, this sounds a little
Sectarian,
Yours is the best.
judgmental.
The idea is that within Vedic thought, which is vast, there's ways to counteract bad karma. There's ways to move up. There's ways to improve the quality of your health, the quality of your breath, the quality of your mind, the quality of your diet, all these things. But in Krishna consciousness, it's not about those things come naturally. It's about actually transcending this world. And these books again and again push you to see yourself outside of what we've been labeling ourselves since we were born. I'm Ray Capo. I'm was born in Brewster, New York, and
Brewster.
Brewster. And this is my identity. It's making us see ourselves with the bigger identity, the bigger I.
Yeah. All right. So let's hear more about this, and it'll give us something to contemplate.
All right. Narayanam namaskritya
Nityanam chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat.
Before we start in the Srimad-Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, I want you to offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord, Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author.
Nasta prayesha badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki.
By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam, and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome in the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact.
Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. The guy, he started massaging my feet with his knuckles really hard. And I tell you, I was so ticklish. I almost lost my marbles. I was like, stop. I sounded like a little lady. What, Prabhu? Stop tickling me. Oh, God.
You ready?
All right. Let's read yesterday's verse because it was an interesting verse.
It was
Let's go back one.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go back.
Text 30. Right?
Yeah. We can maybe take a look at the commentary. How's this thing work?
You know
Oh,
what this thing? It's thinking.
There we go.
Okay. This is text 30 again. Did this yesterday. As one mistakenly considers a flower garland to be a snake, or experiences happiness and distress in a dream, so in the material world, by lack of careful consideration, we differentiate between happiness and distress, considering one good and the other bad. They're all there to push us further on our spiritual journey.
Okay, sure. The happiness and distress of the material world of duality are both mistaken ideas. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya Lila 4:176, it says, Dvaite Badra Badra Gyana Shaba Manodharma E Bhala E Manda E Shabba Brahma. The distinctions between happiness and distress in the material world of duality are simply mental concoctions. For the so-called happiness and distress are actually one and the same. Now, this is something.
It's very interesting.
If you're going to I think if you just read that to like 100 people, what would be the immediate responses?
No, it's not.
Yeah, there's some things that bring happiness and there's some things that bring distress, and they're very different. And this is a completely different way of looking at it. The distinction between happiness and distress in this material world of duality are simply mental concoctions. For the so-called happiness and distress are actually one and the same. They're like the happiness and distress in dreams. A sleeping man creates his happiness and distress by dreaming, although actually they have no existence.
I mean, I've done this, Kastuba, in the course of a massage. I went to the massage in a good mood. That during the massage, I created this whole turbo scenario.
Oh, this massage just today?
Just today.
Okay.
Went to the massage, happy thoughts, things are good. During the massage, I was thinking, what if as I get older, my children hate me? That's what I thought. And I created scenarios in my brain where they were hating me for no good reason either. I just started thinking like that. And then I got out of the massage, like everything, our joy and our happiness. So I went in happy. I went in joy. I mean, it felt good, but I went in happy, came out sad. I was just thinking, I'm just mentally concocting everything that's going on. Doesn't matter where I am, doesn't matter what I have, doesn't matter who I'm with, doesn't matter what my economic status is. It's just, we're just concocting it. Matter of fact, I've sometimes been the happiest when I've been the most broke. Sometimes I'm the most distressed when I've had the most money. You know what I mean? Everything that should make us happy doesn't necessarily make us happy. And it probably is a big reason why a big part of the yoga practice is to realize the mind is not us, because it's creating happiness and distress on a regular basis that have nothing to do with reality.
Yeah, they have nothing to do. There's two different realms. There's a realm of illusion. There's a realm of reality. When we go into a movie theater, there's two realms going on within that room, right?
Right.
Like
there's my own body eating popcorn.
There's me sitting in the chair. Yeah, that's we call that the realm of reality. And what's going on the screen, we call the realm of illusion.
Right, the Titanic.
Okay, let's say Titanic. So then you're sitting there watching the Titanic, and then there's a scene where like
the poor guy,
the guy goes
to the rich girl.
Well, no, okay. So then you're thinking this is happiness, right?
Oh my God, he's got what? It's they met each other. Oh, pure. This is perfect. The dream come true.
Da 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 da.
It's a good move.
Okay, so then you're thinking, oh, things are good.
Yeah.
This is good, right? This is happy. I feel happy. Okay, then later on, the ship's going down. I think he's like slipping into the water, and like he's like, and she's in the boat, and he's going into the freezing cold water.
Someone's playing the violin,
and you're like, oh, this is bad.
This right? Is bad. Real bad.
This is bad. This brings misery. This is suffering. And you're sitting in the chair
in love
and suffering
and then crying.
Yeah.
Say, oh no, my love.
Yeah. So now that's the illusory world.
Yeah.
We all accept that. Everyone accepts that's an illusory world.
Yeah.
And then you're sitting in the chair in quote unquote reality, and you're being moved through happiness and distress, being influenced by the illusory world. Now, if someone were to say everything that's going on that screen, it's neither good or bad in the reality. It's just illusion. It's a movie. It's not real. It's entirely unreal. But still, because you're identifying with the characters, you're feeling happiness and distress.
Yes.
Based on what's going on in this other illusory realm. That's all that Prabhupada's saying here. That's all that he's saying. You know, he's saying that he's using dreams instead of a movie. He's using that, right? But more or less, it's saying that if we understood that we are, in a sense, in a virtual reality, or in a sense, living in a movie, then we would understand that this world is neither good or bad. It's a movie. And that there's a realm outside of it that is reality that we actually exist in, that we are this spark of spirit moving through a realm of illusion.
Now, you could also put it like, of course, we get it. You know, it's you know, we're watching the movie, we're falling in love, we're feeling good. Oh, it's a horror movie. I'm feeling frightful. But we could actually do this within our own body. And I could think of the most distressful situation myself, or another, like when I was helping Gopal Chandra leave his body. There was times when he was like going through the process of leaving his body where he was incredibly joyful.
Yeah.
You know, despite what was actually going on. He's about to lose everything, including his body, including his family, including his parents. He was about to lose everything, but there was a joy separate than what was going on the screen of the material world.
Yeah.
There was an interconnection. Then there, in time, I remember times when I was like, you know, I had COVID and I thought I was going to die, and I'm laying in the hospital bed with my Govardhan Sheila, and then Mara comes and Eva comes and some really nice students show up, and they're
really happy.
Bring me something. And I was happy, and then we were laughing, you know? So it's like to teach someone to control the mind is the highest thing you could do.
Yeah.
Because it's always going to be tragic. Tragedy's around the corner. Huh?
Yeah.
It's around the corner. And no one gets a pass from it. There's tragedy happening right now. We know tragedy, turn on the news, tragedy. But guess what? You're in that tragedy in a moment.
Mm.
In a moment.
Thank you.
Thank
Which
you.
moment will it come?
That you don't know.
All right, let's continue with this commentary. Later on in the commentary, Prabhupada continues. He says, in dreams, we sometimes enjoy eating sweet rice.
In a dream. Yes.
At least Indian people do.
We dream of eating sweets. I have.
Okay. In dreams, we sometimes enjoy. My wife told me she had a dream where Prabhupada gave her some sweet rice. And here, have some of this.
Well, of course, and then there's sex dreams. There's like night terrors.
Okay.
Both are real. Both when you wake up, you feel like you've experienced one or the other.
You feel like they're real.
You feel like they're real.
Okay. So in dreams, we sometimes enjoy eating sweet rice and sometimes suffer as if our beloved family members had died.
I had a dream I was wrestling a wild boar. I kid you not. It was a real, just the other day. I woke up sweating. I didn't even tell you that.
Mara, I hope he wasn't had you in a headlock while he was dreaming.
I think I watched too many animal videos.
Okay. In dreams, we sometimes enjoy eating sweet rice, and sometimes we suffer as if our beloved family members have died. So there's happiness and distress in the dreams. Because the same mind, because the same mind and body exist in the same material world of duality when we are awake. I'll read that again. Because the same mind and body exist in the same material world of duality when we are awake, the so-called happiness and distress of this world are no better than the false superficial happiness of dreams. Now listen to this. The mind is the via medium in both dreams and wakefulness.
Spiritual bypasser. So what do you say when someone yells at you? Say spiritual bypasser.
Before we go there,
Okay.
Let's hear what he's saying here. The mind is the via medium in both dreams and wakefulness, and everything created by the mind in terms of sankalpa and vikalpa, acceptance and rejection, is called manodharma, or mental concoction. So he's saying that
Manodharma. That's the word for mental concoction.
manodharma. So he's saying that we have this equipment called the material mind.
Mm-hmm.
Its realm is within the material world, which is a world of illusion, whether it's the world that what we call reality or the double illusion, which we call dreams. We're still using the same exact equipment to access it. And therefore, whatever we're accessing through it is illusion. Mm-hmm. And when we access reality, we're not accessing it through this material mind. We're accessing it beyond the material mind. Right? Interesting, huh?
Very interesting.
Yeah. Now, as far as bypassing goes.
Yeah. What do you say?
Well, in one sense,
just living in the spiritual world, but there's things right in front of your face that are
just because that's kind of like a matrix question. It's like the idea was once he understood that he was in a matrix, he became and only when he deeply understood that he was in the matrix did he become effective within the matrix. Mm-hmm. Right? And so that would be my answer, that when we fully understand the illusory nature of this world, we actually become most effective in helping people, one, navigate it, and two, transcend it.
Sure.
Right? Like in terms of navigating it, for instance, if we simply understood that we are all equal on a spiritual level, and we're all moving through the different bodies, different races, different genders, different species, if we all really understood that, we wouldn't feel anyone alien to us, because we'd realize I was in that alien position before. Sure. And so that would help us navigate this world and bring peace into this world. And then beyond that, with the depth of that realization, we could understand that true happiness, my deepest satisfaction doesn't come from anything in the illusory realm, and that would empower us to transcend it. So it's not bypassing.
We think we're doing some good, but we're actually slipping into the matrix. Then we become part of that matrix.
Yeah, sure.
You know, we end up becoming a hateful person. We hate what's happening,
Yeah.
and I become angry, and I carry that anger with me all the time, and and I get caught in that glue trap of the matrix.
And that's what Thomas Merton is addressing.
Mhm.
And I think his own realizations from his own practices as a Christian monk, and then informed by the readings that he was doing in the Eastern literature and Upanishads and in Buddhist literature, which is based on Upanishads, he was able to see these kind of things very clearly.
I think Thomas Merton would have liked you.
I think I would have liked
I
him.
think you would have been good friends.
What about you and him?
Would you introduce me to him?
Sure.
I don't know if he'd like me. Who's your prince?
Okay, you can hang out with George Harrison.
I think George would like me.
Okay. I think Ringo would like you. That's not
Yeah.
okay, good. Ringo's a nice
I
guy.
think Ringo's still alive.
He is.
You made him?
I've never met him. Radha Swami.
Radha Swami knows him.
Okay, next verse. You go back. There.
That's how you do it. Huh? Alrighty. Text 30.
One.
Persons engaged in bhakti, devotional service to Lord Vasudeva, Krishna, have naturally perfect knowledge and detachment from this material world. Therefore, such devotees are not interested in the so-called happiness or so-called distress of this world.
This verse, it kind of echoes another more famous verse in Bhagavatam. This one reads Vasudeva Bhagavati.
Bhakti yoga priyojitaha.
Oh, that's the one. And then this one reads Bhaktim Udva Hatam Nirnam Jnana Vairagya.
Haitukam.
Yeah, but this one says Jnana Vairagya Viryanam Nahi Kaschid Vyapashraya. I'll read it again. Prabhupada, persons engaged in devotional service to Lord Vasudeva Krishna have naturally perfect knowledge. So that jnana, which is what a lot of people in the yoga world are looking for, right? Like the jnanis in particular, perfect knowledge. I'm not this body. This material world is illusion. They understand how the mind works, all that kind of knowledge. They're saying that if you have devotion to Krishna, you already have that knowledge. It comes with it.
You know who's that?
Who?
Nandini.
A little Nandini from
That
yesterday.
girl yesterday. If you missed yesterday,
Very good.
This girl showed up here like a liberated being.
She was great.
Laying down heavy truths. Like she was born realized,
Very
like
much
born in a lotus. The lotus opened and she was like child, baby, prophet girl.
Yeah. So here it's saying if you're engaged in bhakti, then you naturally, not artificially, but naturally. Like sometimes we say naturally, like, oh, that person's a natural at this or that, meaning it doesn't seem to be requiring any extra effort. They just have it naturally. And so for the bhakti yogis, how do jnana yogis cultivate knowledge? They do it a lot through practicing renunciation, by walking away from home, walking away from family, practicing austerities. Here it's saying that the bhakti yogi has it naturally, without any of that kind of endeavor. They have a natural detachment from those things of this world because their interest has shifted from a world of sense gratification to a world of inner satisfaction of divine love. So they have naturally perfect knowledge and detachment from this material world. Therefore, such devotees are not interested in the so-called happiness or so-called distress of this world. Naturally. So commentary. Here is the distinction between a devotee and a philosopher who speculates on the subject matter of transcendence. A devotee does not need to cultivate knowledge to understand the falsity or temporary existence of this material world. Because of their unalloyed devotion to Vasudeva, this knowledge and detachment are automatically manifest in this person. As confirmed elsewhere in Srimad-Bhagavatam, and that's the verse that we're talking about, Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Priyojitaha, Jana Yat Yasu Vairagyam Jnanam Cha Yadahoitikam. One who engages in unalloyed devotional service, bhakti, to Vasudeva, Krishna, automatically becomes aware of this material world, and therefore they are naturally detached. Naturally, again, right? This detachment is possible because of their high standard of knowledge. It means this is what Bhagavad Gita is saying, right? That Krishna is saying he's providing so much knowledge that is there in the Upanishad. He's really Bhagavad Gita is like a comparative study of different levels of yoga. And it's saying, and there Krishna is saying, you know what the four Vedas was taught in the four Vedas, Arjuna, let that stuff go, right? Because that's for how to enjoy this material world, and that's you evolve beyond that. Let all that stuff go. And then he's speaking on the Upanishadic level, saying, you know, all that stuff about how the soul is eternal and the body is temporary and how the mind works and et cetera, et cetera. But then he says, but there's more confidential knowledge, right? There's a deeper secret to all of this wisdom. And I'm going to share that with you, Arjuna. And you know why? He doesn't say because you're the most renounced, right? Or because you're the most learned, or anything like. He says because you have no envy in your heart, right? It has to do with the state of his heart. So when he says here, he says that the devotee, they have this detachment is possible because of their high standard of knowledge. The high standard of knowledge is even beyond what the Jnana Yogi has. The Jnana Yogi understands all these things. I'm not this body. The breakdown of all the material elements, how the I is separate from it and is observing it all and all that. But when one understands Krishna, when one understands that behind all of it is this person, this beautiful person, this loving, kind person that is both everything is in that person and that person is in everything. When you begin to understand that person, you have this higher level of jnana. And when you have that jnana, the things of this world, you develop an interest in that person. And just by your interest in that person, loving interest in that person, the things of this world automatically, naturally become of no interest to you. So he goes on. The speculative philosopher tries to understand, when he says that, he means the Jnana Yogi. The speculative philosopher tries to understand that this material world is false by cultivating knowledge, but this understanding is automatically manifested in a person, in the person of a devotee without separate endeavor. Nice, huh?
Very nice.
We might wrap up this chapter today. Yeah, I think so. Maybe.
Text 32. Neither I, Lord Shiva, nor Brahma, nor the Ashvini Kumaras, nor Narada, or other great sages who are Brahma's sons, nor even the demigods can understand the pastimes and personality of the Supreme Lord. Although we are part of the Supreme Lord, we consider ourselves independent, separate controllers, and thus we cannot understand his identity.
Unlimited, right? These are interesting verses now.
He holds no one as very dear and no one as inimical. He has no one for his own relative, and no one is alien to him. He is actually the soul of the soul and of all living entities.
Of all living entities.
Of all living entities. He is the soul. He is the soul of the soul of all living entities. Thus, he is the auspicious friend of all living beings and is very near and dear to all of them.
It sounds a little contradictory,
Sounds
right?
a little Upanishadic.
Yeah, and contradictory, right?
He's tall and he's short.
Yeah, right.
He's in and he's out. He's up and he's down.
So it's first, it says he holds no one as very dear, no one as inimical. He has no one who is his own relative and no one who's alien to him. But then it says he's an auspicious friend to all living beings and he's very near and dear to all of them. So
It's like, what?
yeah, so the way that that's understood is when it says he holds no one very dear and no one as inimical. Like, say you want to get a job and you're qualified for the job. You're more qualified than someone else, but that someone else is a relative of the person that's doing the hiring. Now you've got a problem. Now you have someone. Now you're living in a world, in an unjust world.
Right. It's not by merit. It's by some
Yeah.
familial connection.
Right. So it's saying that, you know, someone may say, look at what I go through in life, and someone else has had such an easier time. Well, why is God being unfair like this? Just like this boss who's going to hire someone that's their relative. You know, I didn't do anything wrong, but it seems like someone else is dear to God and I'm not dear to God. And it's saying, no, it's not like that. No one is dear and no one is inimical to him in that sense. But then it's going on to say that person who is behind everything, he's an auspicious friend. I wonder what the term Mangala, let's see. Auspicious friend. Sarva, Bhuta, Priya. Everyone is very dear to him. Apriya, Atmavat, due to being the soul of souls. Sarva Bhutanam, of all living entities. Sarva Bhuta, to all living entities. Priya, very, very dear. Hari, Lord Hari. So it's saying that he's this person that's like, he's not, everybody's got a fair shot in this world. Nobody is not, he's not favoring anyone over another. He's not unjust. At the same time, he's actually very dear and loving to every single living being. Right. And what Lord Shiva is doing right now is he's talking about the character of Citraketu and the depth of Citraketu's understanding of Lord. He earlier yesterday, I think it was, we read that verse Narayana Parasarve, that the devotees of Lord Narayana or Lord Vishnu, that they have no fear. They see all the different levels, just like in a movie. If we went into a movie theater and we saw, oh, there's a hellish scene in the movie and there's a heavenly scene in the movie, but to us, it's all the same. It's all a movie. To the devotees of Lord Narayan, the good and the bad and the sufferings and enjoyments of this world, they see it all as one thing of equal value. And that was just like kind of blowing away Parvati, because she gave this curse here. She's expecting he was going to retaliate or suffer,
dig his heels in,
yeah,
dig
or
his chapals in.
cry or whatever,
Cry.
you know, yeah. And he didn't at all. He was totally transcendent to it. So now it's sharing the understanding of who Vishnu is and what Citraketu understands about Vishnu.
The devotees of Vishnu
Yeah.
behave like. This is 34 and 35. The magnanimous Citraketu is a dear devotee of the Lord. He is equal to all living entities and is free from attachment and hatred. Similarly, I am also very dear to Lord Narayan.
You know, just one thing. Sorry to stop you. But if we go back to what Thomas Merton was saying, okay, this magnanimous Citraketu is a very dear devotee of the Lord. He is equal to all living entities, and he is free from attachment and hatred. Now, Thomas Merton was saying, like, yeah, someone says, yeah, I'm free from hatred. I want there to be peace, but I'm not free of attachment. You know, it says he's free of attachment and hatred. So if I'm not free of attachment, my attachment is likely going to play out in the suffering of another living being. So until you're not just free of hatred, but free of attachment, you're not truly free of hatred. You know, you're not really true of causing harm to others. Citraketu is free of both.
Similarly, I am also very dear to Lord Narayan. Therefore, no one should be astonished to see the activities of the most exalted devotees of Narayan, for they are free from attachment
and envy, which means like hostility or hatred. He called it hatred earlier.
They are always peaceful, and they are equal to everyone.
Even when she cursed him, he treated her as a friend.
Yeah. Text 36. Sri Sukadev Goswami said, O king, after hearing the speech by her husband, the demigoddess Uma, the wife of Lord Shiva, gave up her astonishment at the behavior of King Citraketu and became steady in intelligence.
That's very interesting, right?
Right. She's like, right? Because how do you, it's like that Aikido. It's like, you know, someone's chastising you.
Yeah.
Like, remember I told you this about the farmer neighbor. You
Yeah.
And my response was, yeah, I'm sort of foolish.
Thanks for pointing that out.
You know, I am foolish when it comes to things like that.
That's called pulling a Citraketu, what you did.
I just pulled a Citraketu
on her.
on her, and it disarms him.
Yeah. And this was such a deep, and she's obviously such an incredibly deep being.
Yes.
that
Are you talking about Parvati or my neighbor?
Well, both. But in this case, Parvati specifically. What's implied by that she gave up her astonishment, right? At first she's like, whoa, what? And then she heard from Shiva and she's like, that's what this is. And she became steady in her intelligence. Like it kind of like almost sobered her up in some kind of sense, right? Like that's the level of awareness that the great souls are at. You know, like I'm not exactly there, even though I'm this powerful goddess. The pure devotees of Vishnu are on another level of awareness that I don't even think about very much, you know, but that demonstration just blew my mind.
great devotee Citraketu was so powerful that he was quite competent to curse Mother Poverty.
Oh, that would have
In
been
retaliation, that would have been a war.
cursing, counter cursing.
But instead of doing so, he very humbly accepted the curse and bowed his head before Lord Shiva and his wife. This is very much to be appreciated as the standard behavior of a Vaishnava.
The standard behavior of
Don't
a bhakti
retaliate.
yogi. Yeah. Standard behavior of the bhakti yogi. Very interesting stuff.
Very
Not
interesting.
rationalize.
Giving us cues into our behavior.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Text 38.
Text 38, being cursed by Mother Durga, Bhavani, the wife of Lord Shiva.
It's got a different name each verse,
Yeah.
right?
That same Citraketu accepted birth in a demoniac species of life. Although still fully equipped with transcendental knowledge and practical application of that knowledge in this life, knowledge in life, he appeared as a demon at the fire sacrifice performed by Tvasta, and thus he became famous as
Vritrasura.
Vritrasura.
Interesting also that it says that he was still fully equipped with transcendental knowledge.
Yeah, it means he's like,
He embraced the role that he was meant to play,
right.
even though it wasn't a role that he wanted to play. But he played the role of the antagonist to
Makes
the
you
devotee.
wonder
Yeah.
who's right around you right now.
Mm.
Playing the role of Govinda Priya, playing the role of Mathura Road Rage, playing the role of Mara. Who is Mara?
Who is Mara?
Playing the role of a simple weaver woman.
4 years in, still hasn't revealed exactly who she is.
Your real identity. Like, imagine if you just, I mean, what a really interesting thing. You had full realization of your previous life, but you're just going to play dumb and be cool.
Judd
about
Bart.
it. Yeah. It's Judd Bart, too.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Very
There's
interesting.
people like that walking among us. I'm sure of it. Just playing it cool.
All right, let's continue here.
There was some guy in LA. He was sort of like a homeless guy living in the alley,
All right.
but he'd go to Muggleartik every day.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
very attached to Muggleartik. You know what I'm talking about? Some guy who's just like,
He had like a shopping cart back in the alley. and
yeah,
stuff like
living
that.
in the alley like a homeless guy, but he loved chanting. And
Mm.
I cornered him one day. I was like, I know, I get you. I get you, man. And he's like, whoa, nothing. And he acted crazy. I was like, no, no, I get it.
Did he reveal himself? He had 4 arms.
He had 4 arms. Levitated.
How many more verses?
Let's do this.
Oh, let's finish it up.
Let's do this. Finish it. But we got to go quick. Text 39. My dear King Pricket, you inquired for me how Vritrasura, a great devotee, took birth in a demoniac family. Thus, I have tried to explain to you everything about this. Citraketu was a great devotee, a Mahatma. If one hears this history of Citraketu,
What
I'm a
happens?
pure devotee,
Uh-oh. We didn't.
the
That's
listener also is freed from the conditioned life of material existence. Sorry, guys.
You're going to have to hear it from someone else.
One who rises from bed early in the morning and recites this history of Citraketu. That's all you guys on Zoom, but not here in India. Sorry. One who rises from bed early in the morning and recites this history of Citraketu, controlling his words and his mind, and remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead, will return home back to Godhead without difficulty.
Whoa.
That ends the chapter. Miss Mara, come on down.
That was great.
You're the next contestant here, Miss Mara. Enlighten us with your goodie takeaways.
I got some good stuff today. Love others and God above all. Merton.
There you go.
Am I a warmonger?
I might be.
Hate the greed, tyranny, and animal appetite within ourselves.
Animal appetite.
Spiritual freedom is the true happiness.
It's interesting. Animal appetite. You really know when your appetite is like an animal appetite. It's like, right? We have higher appetites. and we have lower appetites.
Thank you, Reverend.
Share that. My wisdom of the day for all of you.
Tragedy is just around the corner and nobody gets a pass.
Yikes.
Tragedy is just around the corner.
Nobody gets a pass.
No, gets a pass. Have a great day.
You're so chipper. Our mind creates, let's see. No, we're just concocting mental turbo scenarios.
Yeah.
All day long, and even during a massage.
We need to fully understand this illusory world in order to navigate and transcend it.
I love when they pour the hot oil on your belly button and use it as a bowl.
I'm sure that's a mental image everybody wants you to think of. Now,
Your hairy navel. full of oil.
knowledge and detachment come naturally to bhakti yogis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one is dear or inimical to Narayan. He's an auspicious friend to all.
Mhm.
We need to be free of attachment to be free of hatred.
That's right.
Free.
And
And
pull a Citraketu to disarm your haters.
there you go. Pull a Citraketu out of him.
Let's shit your K2.
It'll freak him out.
Freedom, freedom, freedom. Freedom in the state of Maine of Virginia. State of mine. Freedom by riding. The only way to freedom is right on through your brain. Whoa. Shenandoah, the musical. Oh, everybody, thanks for joining us. Kylie Brown knows that song. Come on, Kylie. We're going to do a both starting with something.